You know, what causes it is different for you than it is for me. But it makes us all feel the same way. That warm, familiar feeling that makes you yearn back for a time long past. Nostalgia is awesome. Which may be a risque statement, considering there seems to often be a negative association with it. I'm sure at one point or another you've heard someone tell you, "Yeah, you're just blinded by nostalgia." Hell yeah, I am. And I'm thrilled about that. People are not kidding when they talk about how powerful it can be. What else can make an objectively bad movie, and I mean one that 99% of the population all agrees is bad, one of your favorites of all time? Or make a video game that hasn't aged that well an experience you will forever hold near and dear to your heart. Nostalgia is the ultimate, and arguably the only way, to find appreciation in the games, toys, movies, music, shows, memories, and experiences that would have never been appreciated if that magical feeling didn't exist. I feel nostalgic about so much stupid junk, you wouldn't believe it. And now I'm old enough that I think the full appreciation has settled, and I want to talk about it.
You know, it's honestly crazy how fast we get older. I know technically it gradually happens over time, but you don't notice it every day until one day you're, 23 and suddenly you go to the grocery store and find Scotch mints and they excite you for some reason? Explain that to me. Or watches. What kid gives a shit about watches? I didn't give a damn when I was 12. But now suddenly I'm very fascinated by them. I'm still not really into liquor though, so I guess I'm not that old, but still. And you know what? It doesn't just stop there. Have you ever heard of the Statler Brothers? You probably haven't. They're a 60s country quartet. I'm gonna say that again. A 60s country quartet. And I like them. Why do I like them? They're kind of a jam. They're kind of a vibe. I mean, I guess it's true what they say. The older you get, the more you'll appreciate things that you never thought you'd appreciate. I mean, if you told me in middle school that I'd be listening to old country music from the 60s on vinyl in my basement alone, I would have cried. Which leads me to what I want to talk about today, which is nostalgia. Have you ever tried telling somebody a story about something you liked as a kid, a movie, a show, a game, anything really? You're trying to tell somebody about it, get them to appreciate it for what it was, but they just don't get it. Like, they just don't seem to understand why you're so into this thing. And God forbid they use the sentence, "Oh, you only like that because you're blinded by nostalgia." Shut the fuck up, maybe. But why do you have to be so negative about it? There's a stigma around nostalgia that makes people feel like liking something because it came from their childhood is a bad thing. Like, you can't like something because of nostalgia and feel okay about it because it was never actually good. You only liked it because you were like 6. Big shocker, Timothy Goes to School isn't a banger. And I don't think that's totally fair. I think it's totally okay to like something because of nostalgia and appreciate it as that. Look, not every piece of media out there is this 5-star thing that can never be duplicated and was breaking boundaries and thinking outside the box for the time it came out. Like, that doesn't happen every day. It's just fun to look back at things that you loved as a kid and see how they hold up. Sometimes they do. They hold up extremely well. And it's this amazing thing where you look back and it might be better than you remember it. But even in the opposite case, where it's not good, where it's like just a complete dumpster fire, that's fun too. The dryer in this house does not dry anything adequately at all. Forget adequately, it doesn't dry anything, period. You can put your clothes in 3 times. 3 times I tried to dry this shirt, this pair of jeans, but they just don't dry. It's horrible. Have you ever put on a pair of wet jeans with a damp t-shirt? It is a horrible experience. Come on, cord. A little farther. Oh yeah, baby. That's the stuff. That's the stuff. I'm sorry, that had nothing to do with anything. I just really hate our dryer, and I needed to rant about it. There are 2 big reasons why I love nostalgia as much as I do. Number 1, it is just fun. To look back at the things you grew up with, it fills you with that feeling on the inside that nothing else gives you. And it's a good time. Reason number 2. I love the psychology behind it. You can learn a lot about your present day self purely by what you liked as a kid and the things that you feel nostalgic about. You can virtually trace every part of your personality back to your childhood and something that happened, something you enjoyed, something that just took place and had some kind of effect on you. I lost my train. The point I'm very poorly articulating here is you can take any personality trait that you have as an adult person and you can find out why you have that particular personality trait, or just maybe an interest you have, something you like. For example, the Statler brothers, them. Why do I like the Statler brothers? I know exactly why I like them. As a kid, I used to go to my neighbor's house, and he had a brother who was like 8 years older than us, who owned an original Xbox. Keep in mind, we're like 8 years old, not even 8, maybe 6 years old. We're young. We played his Xbox while he wasn't home. We'd sneak into his room, and one of our favorite games to just mess around in was Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. We didn't care about the missions or the story. Hell, I don't even think we knew there were missions or a story. We just thought it was a big sandbox that you could run around in and drive cars and just have a great time exploring your imagination. We would go to the countryside outside of the main Los Santos city. If you played the game, I assume you know what I'm talking about. Find like a pickup truck and then just drive through the countryside because we thought it felt kind of scenic. And it wasn't very scenic. This was an original Xbox game. It looked kind of shit. But that's what we would do. I remember we found like a campground looking area in the middle of the woods, and we kept gathering different vehicles to bring them there, and we pretended we had some kind of shady auto shop. The significance here is every time you would get in a car in that game, it would autoplay one of the radio stations in the game, and if you were in the countryside, it would always play the country radio station K-Rose, where the Statler brothers had 2 songs. And that's why I like some seemingly random country band from the 60s, who I probably would not give a shit about otherwise.
It's not a car, it's an iron horse with a drinking problem. K-Rose.
What the hell do you think we're here for? You're listening to K-Rose. Don't go away. I might start to cry.
And that's just a shallow example of what I'm talking about. So much of who you are was manufactured by the decisions and actions you made when you were a kid. It gets deep, too. It goes farther than just, why do I like Mario games as an adult? Oh, I liked Mario games as a kid. No, if you want to know some of the, deep-seated issues that you have, maybe why you're such an introvert, why you don't like people, why you have daddy issues, any sort of mental issue you may have, childhood. The psychology is fascinating, and I want to look more into it. I want to understand why I like all the things I like, why I am the way that I am, why I have the shortcomings that I have. There are things that I find difficult as an adult that other people do with relative ease, like it's no big deal, because it was ingrained in their brain when they were younger, and I just didn't have those things. It should be everyone's goal to constantly be improving, and I feel like over the past few years, I've just been sitting around in my basement with no personal character development whatsoever. I'm hoping with this show, I'll be able to identify some of my flaws and some of my better qualities and learn why they are the way that they are, and remedy them, or maybe you work them to my benefit. I don't know. We'll see what we uncover.